welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. I'm Aurelio Martinez, Stephen Johnson, and I'll tell you, in this segment we're going to continue to recap yesterday's fights.
Yep.
And of course we had the big heavyweight fight between Wilder and Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
And as expected, turned out to be a pretty good fight. Now, we talked about that fight, and I'll let you go into the details of the fight, but we talked about that fight, and I said that it should be a good fight, but my whole thing was I wanted to see how Ortiz fared when he's up against a real competitor, a good competition, a real boxer, because I'm on record saying that Wilder's the best heavyweight in the world right now, okay? But I needed to see this fight. I needed to see this fight because he was in there with someone that was coming to win. He was in there with someone that was skilled and knew what to do in the ring, and it showed. Because as a matter of fact, you can go through the fight, but it showed that Deontay was in trouble. He had a little favoritism in that 7th round. And that's one thing I really don't like about the officiating and the things in boxing is how they tend to do this. There really isn't any room for that now. I picked Wilder to win, but still in that, referees and the politics of boxing need to stay out. Okay, they need to stop doing these little sneaky things that favor a boxer. And I'll get to what I'm talking about when we do that. But Steve, give us your take on this fight, because this is a big fight for the heavyweight division. I mean, everyone's waiting for that big showdown between Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Mm-hmm. So talk about the fight, and then let's talk about what comes next.
Okay, well, the fight itself, let's just be honest. The fight was entertaining. It was entertaining from the aspect that anytime, like the good old days when we grew up, mm-hmm. the two biggest guys out there going at it, Ortiz gets knocked down, he gets up, comes back, and almost, for all intents and purposes, he had Wilder out.
Wow.
Okay,
and I just stopped there just for a minute. Had this fight been against someone like Joshua in the UK, it stopped. It stopped.
It's over.
When Joshua's in trouble in that 7th round,
yeah.
Referee stops that fight. But over here, there you go with that favoritism. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you flip that script, and if Wilder has Ortiz in trouble like that, like he had him in the 7th round, that referee would have stopped that fight. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we both are in agreement on that. And this is one of the few times that during the fight we didn't talk to each other. So our opinions right now are totally separate on things. But let me say, like I said, I found the fight very entertaining. I didn't like the way that went down because, as far as I was concerned, Ortiz should be the the WBC World Heavyweight Champion right now. But, the fights here in the United States, they're in, Barclays Center, packed with 14,000 people. I saw that the way it went. Credit to Wilder. He took advantage of that little bit of switch there.
Yep.
And he came back and he outlasted a guy who's older, heavier, had seen his better days.
Well, Ortiz 38 years old.
I think that's one thing you have to remember. We all know that Ortiz was on the downside of his career, whereas Anthony Joshua, which we want to use that as on the Parker, okay?
Yeah.
Is on the way up in his career. Let's see what he does against those guys. And I know everybody's going to say, you're doing this, but I'm not, wait a minute, let me just say this. I'm not on this American heavyweight shit. I don't care about Wilder. This is the same dude that just a week or so ago, he said he'd have beat Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Larry Holmes. He names all these people he would have beat. He's on some stupid shit.
Well, that's.
So I don't want to hear that.
I don't know where that talk comes from, but we both.
Where it comes from. It comes out his ass.
Stupid talk. But that's a point where fighters start to believe what people were telling them. Okay, you need to just stay in your lane and not believe what your close circle is telling you. Okay, you need to maintain what you're doing. But going back to that, Ortiz couldn't win this fight as far as the politics of boxing, American politics in the U.S. I said because Ortiz, if that fight is stopped when Wilder was in trouble, which they would have a very good. No one would complain for that stoppage. But if they do, then you have a Cuban that wins the champion. So now the Cuban gets in line to fight Anthony Joshua and get the big fight against Anthony Joshua. So you completely take the American boxers out of that picture, and they couldn't have that.
There's the truth.
They just couldn't have that.
That's
okay,
the truth.
So they had to do these little things to make it work where Joshua would win this fight.
Reno, let me say this for anyone that's going to say, "Oh, that had no bearing." Don't watch this show anymore. Seriously, I'm dead serious about that too, because these people that don't want to acknowledge something that went on that was at the worst case scenario, it was shady. Anybody that won't acknowledge that, they have no business watching this show, because this is one of the things that we do here at Inside Boxing Throwdown. We call it what it is.
Well, and that's true, and I'm not taking them the politics of boxing. I'm not putting that on Wilder or any other boxer. Okay,
no.
That's the politics of boxing, and it's not a good thing, and it never has been. But it happens. Okay. I'm one that I'm going to disagree with you on this. I'm all about American boxers, and I promote them, and I like them. And right now, I still say Joshua is the best heavyweight boxer in town. This was a test for him, and he passed the test.
You mean Wilder?
Wilder.
Yeah.
He passed the test. As a matter of fact, there's no one that can deny that he did not pass the test, because he stuck in there. He got hurt. He was definitely hurt. He was holding on for dear life. He sucked it up, he came back, and he came back strong, and he won this fight. So that, to me, showed that this man got the heart. Forget about his talks and his antics and everything else. He's got the heart of a champion and a boxer, okay? And it kind of fits where everyone's saying, well, Joshua's going to kill him and all that. But no, if you take this fight with him and Ortiz, there's very much similarities when Joshua fought Klitschko. Klitschko was on his way to quieting the young up-and-coming Anthony Joshua. Joshua sucked it up, hung in there, and came and defeated Klitschko.
Yeah.
Very, very two similarities. So I'm actually looking forward for that fight to be put together, so they can, actually put the two best fighters in the heavyweight, in my opinion, in the heavyweight division together, because they have so much similarities. You have to learn how to just not listen to the mouth, okay? Because
well, let me clarify one thing. When I say I'm not all about all this all-American boxing, that's not what I meant. That wasn't.
Oh, no,
I'm saying.
And I didn't mean you're anti-American.
I'm about American boxers, but keep it in perspective.
Exactly.
If he's the best American boxer, that's great. I was on Twitter this morning, and I happened to see that there was a bunch of people saying, hashtag American heavyweight champion. Okay, that's great.
That's
okay,
good, yeah.
But we want to see the best.
Exactly.
And now let's get down. We got 2 minutes left. I want to get down to the nitty gritty. We talk about this fight coming up between potentially Joshua and Wilder.
Yeah, let me just interject, because we'll talk about that even if we extend a little bit. For those of you that didn't see the fight, because it was on Showtime, and a lot of people didn't see it. What we're talking about with the politics in boxing, okay? This one here is the one that really sticks out, okay? In the 7th round, where Ortiz had Wilder in trouble and
out on his feet
and could have been stopped, okay, without a question, it could have been stopped. Wilder was in deep trouble. I mean, the fight could have ended right then and there, and there would be no complaints. The bell rings. Okay, so he hangs on to the bell rings. Okay, they go back to their respective corners and do whatever they do in the corners, and they get the minute rest. Well, when the bell rings to start the next round, Joshua clearly wasn't completely there yet. Wilder, okay, it wasn't completely there. So the referee stops time before any action starts. And why? He don't know. So then he
looks and makes an imaginary cut. He says, "Let me look at this."
Yeah. He looks at him. And sends him to the corner. Calls the doctor up to look, and very well easily gave him another 20.
I'd say 15 seconds.
15 to 20 seconds to get his head together, and that's a lot when you're in trouble. Okay. Then by the time he gets him back, sends him to the neutral corners, and starts the ring. My man had 30 seconds of an extra rest,
to get his head together.
That's what we're talking about. That things that really, because it was fictitious. There was no reason to do that. There was only one reason to do that.
There was one.
And we all know what the reason was, okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to extend this. We're going to extend this series because now you can go ahead and finish with that. Where we can leave the politics alone because I didn't want to leave the audience hanging.
That's a good point.
What we were talking
That's
about.
a good point for those of you who haven't seen it. But I say, we get into this fight. Lou DiBella last night said, I think that this fight is going to be great between Joshua and Wilder. It needs to be in the United States because that's where the big money is. This is the nonsense that we've been hearing. And the reason I'm saying the nonsense is because for a whole solid year, Deontay Wilder said, I'll go to the UK. The money's not an issue. I'll go to the UK. Now the money's an issue. Okay? Money's an issue.
Yeah.
Okay? You know what, radio? And once again, this is just aging ourselves from the young crowd that we have here. The title world champion means you go anywhere to fight in the world to prove that you're champion. Deontay Wilder, if you want to prove that you're world champion, and I think a lot of us think you got a good chance against Joshua, but go over there and fight him. Don't worry about the money because on the rematch, you'll be able to flip that script if you pull off the upset. Because it would be an upset, regardless of what you think. It would be an upset. Yeah. But you got to do this, man, if you want to make everybody have the respect for you worldwide. You can't, just like I said a couple weeks ago, he was saying that he was beat all these other guys. A couple weeks before that, he said America doesn't appreciate him. Man, go over there and kick ass and take names. Prove that you're a world champion. Jesus Christ.
Well, the thing about it is if you're going to talk that mess where you could have beat Mike Tyson and you beat Muhammad Ali and all these other, and you're talking about, that's a big statement to say. Okay, that's a big statement to say. And obviously, anyone that's been in boxing knows you would not beat Mike Tyson, and you would not beat Muhammad Ali.
You wouldn't have beat George Foreman.
So the bottom line is you go up there and I think the fight's going to be over there because the battle and everyone say that the money's not going over there. Well, what they really mean is the money is not there for them. For here in America, for the promoters and everyone involved in boxing here, because obviously you have that fight here in Vegas or something, and what you're going to get maybe 25,000 people in attendance.
And then Wembley Stadium, you got 90,000.
Then you're going to get 90. So yeah, the money, the big money is over there, but it doesn't trickle down to the promoters and the participants here in the United States.
Let me say this real quick. Last night, Deontay Wilder got $2.1 million. Luis Ortiz got $500,000.
Yeah, see.
Okay. Now, let me tell you this. So, if you're going to do that right like that, then when you go over to fight over, and, when this fight happens, I'm not sure it's going to happen because Wilder, him and Lou DiBella, but I'm telling you, he's got to understand right now, you go over there and fight, even if you came here and fight, you ain't the A-side, buddy. You're not the A-side. You're not going to get, 15,000 people last night, like I said, in Barclays Center, 90,000 in Wembley Stadium.
Well, see, Wilder needs to consider going over there because even though
he was all about it at first,
even the money doesn't trickle down to everyone else, it will trickle into Wilder's pocket. He'll double what he made here by fighting over there.
That's so right. And he can come here and fight in the United States. Then he'll make the $20 million, and then whoever the opponent is has to make $5 million.
And maybe he'll even more than double it because he'll make more than $5 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and then the thing about it is that's not going to the promoters. That's not going to.
That's him.
That's him. That's his pocket. So he need to consider that, and I think it'll happen. But before we get too far, AJ
has to deal with Parker.
He got Parker in front of him. And he better not sleep Parker. Okay?
I don't think he is. Everything I've seen is he's getting on point. Now, that's the end of our second segment. We went way over time, but hey, I think you'll appreciate the conversation. And if you didn't, email us at editor@insideboxing.com, and we'll make sure we'll talk about that next week. Refreshing your drink and be back. We'll be back in a second with our third segment, which will finalize everything for today.
Steve, till we come back, as we do always, keep them hands up.
Keep up and keep it back.